Have you ever tried to learn something new and thought, okay, this is way too easy, I'm really bored, or perhaps this is way too hard, I give up? Well, what if I told you there's a special sweet spot in learning where things are challenging but doable? This is what's known as the Zone of Proximal Development. It's a bit of a mouthful of a name for a simple but important topic. I'm Harry from Growth Engineering, and today we're going to be jumping feet first into the Zone of Proximal Development. This is your secret weapon for growth and for optimizing your learning experiences. So let's get started by setting the scene. The Zone of Proximal Development originated from the work of Lev Vygotsky in the late 1920s. He was a Soviet theorist who emphasized the social and cultural aspects of learning. He felt that traditional academic tests were limited because they only measured a student's current abilities and not their overall potential for growth. This led him to the concept of the Zone of Proximal Development, which is an educational theory that describes the ideal range of challenge for learning. In this sense, it captures not just what a student knows, but their overall potential development opportunities if they're given the right guidance. So it's somewhat similar to the Goldilocks principle. Just like Goldilocks wouldn't eat porridge that was too hot or too cold, your learners won't thrive on tasks that are excessively difficult or perhaps too simple. The Zone of Proximal Development defines that just right zone and is inherently motivating as a result. Put another way, we could say that any given learning experience falls into one of three different categories. Firstly, tasks in the comfort zone are those that are too easy and don't result in any meaningful growth. Secondly, tasks in the Zone of Proximal Development are challenging but achievable with support from a more knowledgeable person. And finally, tasks in the frustration zone are too difficult even with support. It'd be like asking somebody off the street to go fix a jet engine. This is typically where motivation goes to die. Now, as we master these skills, we move through all these different zones, which effectively means that learning professionals should consistently be looking to introduce new challenges to their learners to help keep things nice and fresh. There's a couple of other important concepts that we should also introduce. The first is this idea of a more knowledgeable other, or MKO. So this is anybody who has a better understanding or a higher ability level than the learner when it comes to a specific task. They support the learner within their Zone of Proximal Development. So they can be teachers, tutors, instructors, peers, or even instructional resources like educational videos or e-learning units. And secondly, we have the concept of scaffolding. This is the temporary support provided to learners by a more knowledgeable other to help them achieve their learning goals. Now, this can take a variety of different forms. For instance, providing useful resources, offering prompts, constructive feedback, or even chunking up your content in the right way so that it's easy to digest. As with actual scaffolding, this support is temporary and should be removed as your learners become more proficient. It's like the training wheels you use when first learning to ride a bike. Learners should only really need scaffolding when they're in their Zone of Proximal Development. After all, the other zones are either way too easy already or so challenging that further support becomes somewhat irrelevant. These different concepts come together to form a framework for understanding what learners need at varying stages in their learning journey. They also remind us that we all make progress at different rates and that it's important to create learning environments where each individual is challenged appropriately. Of course, this isn't always easy and it can be difficult to accurately pinpoint the learner's Zone of Proximal Development, especially as this is effectively a moving target. And let's not forget, scaffolding expertise can be hard to come by. Not everybody is adept at providing just the right amount of support. With that said, however, the theory still provides us with a useful lens to view any given learning process, and it reminds us that real growth requires exploration and collaboration. So I hope this video has got you out of your comfort zone. Alright, that's everything I've got for you today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.